I think it's crazy that kids have to go to school for 8 hours and then they have to have homework.
It's diabolical.
And it doesn't give them space to like, okay, well, what do they actually want to do? What's like a cool thing they're going to work on and like get into?
Or by the time they're done going to class and then doing homework, they're just going to want to shut their brain off and they want to stare at a screen all day, right?
Yeah.
That is probably the pro of growing up. One of the few pros, there's some pros, but pros of growing up homeschooled is a lot more like outside time, a lot more time just like freed up to just go do what you want to do. Like pretty much grew up like running around a library in Central Texas, right? Or outside, like crawling around in the dirt and all that. So that is a nice thing. The downside is you don't get to socialize with kids in the same way. Like it would have meant the world to me growing up to get more exposure to kids from other families, like other girls, other boys, like kids from different socioeconomic backgrounds. All of that is in flux depending on like how you want to educate your kids. But there's definitely some pros. There's definitely some pros.
So what was that like for you going back into, or not going back,
for the
but
first
just
time?
going into high school and like after that as well, the rest of your life?
It was exciting. I pretty much campaigned. I don't know if I had like a PowerPoint presentation or whatever, but I definitely campaigned like, please, for the love of the Lord, let me go to a school with other kids. There's definitely like a sharp adjustment period. I think just in any state where you're in like a totally unfamiliar environment, there's kind of an asymmetry, right? Because all of the other kids, 95% of the other kids in the class have years of this socializing already built up. And so it's not just like getting integrated. There's also just kind of a sense that they know something I don't, right? Like they all have this history and I'm coming in as like an outsider, right? And so that's been like a theme I've kind of had to work through just growing up, is the sense of like finding exactly where I belong. And the pro of, being educated, like, at home or something like that, is you have the freedom to develop like a very independent, unique sense of self without all of these outside influences steering you and directing you towards, oh, well, most of the other kids are doing this. This is what you do. So it's like, I feel like the benefit is I've been able to build my own very unique, independent model of what it means to like walk through the world, how to express yourself to people, right? What you think is cool and what you don't think is cool, right? I've been able to basically grow all of those ideas in my own mind before I had tons of outside social pressure telling me that certain things were or were not to be desirable, right? So there's definitely that beneficial side to it, because I think about like going into high school for the first time. I'd already identified that I have like a love and an excitement for cameras and for storytelling, and I'm like willing to express my authentic self regardless of what other people think about it, right? So I was able to integrate into school pretty nicely because I just went to the media lab, joined all the like film and communications and media related parts of school. Like I found my place very comfortably there, and I had a bunch of skills that I'd had a lot of room to develop in like art and design and video and using software and such that a lot of the other kids didn't have because they were socialized and grown in a different way. So it's like I kind of like naturally like found my own place in that. And then even just going through school and then going out to college, so I went to like a traditional university, the University of Arkansas, Woo Pig. Even that, like the experience has always just been a little bit more like I'm very comfortable marching to the beat of my own drum. Whatever it is, I will find that. And even if a bunch of other people aren't invested or interested in an idea, I'm willing to go after it if I think it's interesting. So it's helpful, right? And I think that carries directly into today, right? Like I've been blessed to pursue like entrepreneurial endeavors and such, like start different businesses and such. And I might not have had that same comfort trying those things, trying to take those risks, if not for having been given a lot of like independence growing up. I think that's a strong benefit, right? It's like, it's good to march to the beat of your own drum and find the things not that make you fit in necessarily, but allow you to stand out, right? I feel like that's one of the goals of life. Like, you need to find the things, or it could be helpful to find the things that are so uniquely you that no one else can do it in the same way, and then amplify those things. Just like with a business, right? That's one of the first questions that any investor is going to ask when they look at a business plan. What is going to set you apart from everyone else? What can you do that no one else can do? I think that's an assessment that we do for a business, but we also do it personally. What can I do that no one else can do the way I can do it? How do I amplify it? And so that's been something that has been able to serve me over the years, and I'm able to share it with other people, and I gravitate and almost have like a little magnetic compass inside that points towards the other people who are marching to the beat of their own drum and clearly have found something that's uniquely theirs that they just can't stop getting excited about to share with the world. That's what Promenade is about in a lot of ways. I just see the certain people, and there's some other not requirements, but like natural qualities that make some people better suited to that container than others. But the number one thing is, does this person have something they're just fascinated by? Do they move through the world in a very specific way that only they seem to be able to do? I want to find those people. Some of them get famous, some of them don't, but those are people certainly worth investigating. I think all people are, but it is lovely to see somebody who just has a thing that they know, like, this is my thing and I'm going to amplify it within myself.
Sometimes it's hidden too. That's
Sometimes it's hidden.
You gotta, and that's, I guess, what your job is then there, to find it.
Uncover it.
Because people do sometimes, you can live a certain way and you're not showing that off. But it's there.
Yeah.
I was going to say about the homeschooling, like and independence. I definitely grew up finding my place in a group. And I think that's been a big struggle for me now to recognize, like, I don't need to be that person that fit into the group. Because it was like, you find your place in a group, and then now that's kind of what you're confined to. Or that's what it felt like.
Okay.
Whereas I like what you're saying, that you learned this independence early. That was just, you do whatever the fuck you want. You go for it. There was never that place in the social group that you have to then fulfill and stick to. So I appreciate that. And I think that's a great skill to learn early.